Hey guys, welcome back to another video. One issue a lot of players seem to have, whether it's in solos, duos, trios, or even squads, is finding a good, consistent drop spot that gives them everything they need, and that sets them up for a good mid and end game. In this video, I'll be going over a few factors you should look for in a drop spot, so you can find your optimal drop spot and maximize your in-game performance. Real quick, I'd like to ask you a favor. I would appreciate it a ton if you could drop a like and consider subscribing to the channel, but only if you actually enjoy the video and it helps you out. That way I can tell if you guys are enjoying the content and if there's anything I need to improve on. I'd like to also mention that for a lot of the information in this video, I've used the website lootlake.info, and it's a really good tool to see all the things in your drop spot or around the map. I'm not affiliated with them at all, I just figured I would mention this and give them the credit they deserve. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, so starting off, we're going to go over chests and floor loot. Chests and floor loot are a pretty obvious category for this video. From my experience in a solo match, as low as 4 or 5 chests can be enough for good loot. But the more the merrier, of course. In team modes, it's an unspoken rule that you should at least have 4 to 5 chests per player, so you can all be comfortable with your loadout. That's why in duos and squads during Chapter 2, a lot of the top teams were landing in POIs like Slurpy Swamp and Lazy Lake. There's simply not enough loot in unnamed areas to support a full team of players. One example of a good solo spot is the castle up by Sweaty Sands. It has 7 chests and good rotations into Sweaty and the southern houses to loot up even more as well, if you end up getting extra time to do so. For team modes, any POI location or a relatively spread out loot route will do just fine. In duos, my old duo and I used to go to the mountains southwest of Misty Meadows. One went to the EGO base and one went to the disco house. We each rotated to one of the buildings down the hill for 2 extra chests each as well. From here, we did one of 2 things. We either rotated into Misty and grabbed extra loot on the west side, or went straight up north to the extra chest spawn on a truck and then up to the bridge where there were a ton of extra small buildings with 1 or 2 chest spawns. Overall, that gave us enough good loot to play out the game. Our second category is materials, and there really isn't that much to say here. Find a spot with a good amount of materials and diverse farming options. One good example of this is Weeping Woods. Obviously, the trees are there for wood, stones scattered around for brick, and a ton of cars and trucks are around for metal. It's not too hard to find a spot that fits the material requirement, as cars and trucks are at almost every POI, minor or major, and trees and stones are pretty much scattered around the entire map. The third major factor in a good drop spot is rotations. Rotations can be a real pain if you have a drop spot on the edge of the map. Overall, there are 4 forms of rotation in drop spots, as of right now. These include boats, water, position on the map, and extra rotation, like the wind tunnels and steamy stacks for example. First up is boats. Boats are all over the place in the majority of POIs. The only POIs without any boats are Pleasant Park, Holly Hedges, Weeping Woods, Frenzy Farm, and Retail Row. Most POIs have them, especially POIs on the outer part of the map, and they can be a huge help in getting to the zone even if you're rotating late. Water is our second form of rotation, and there are 2 forms of water, moving and still. Still water is great, and it's found mostly in the oceans, around the top left islands, and around the middle island. Moving water generally faces the outside of the map, but it can still be super helpful if the zone pulls far to an edge POI, or if you get zone and want to loot up more towards the edge of the map. Having a river near your drop spot isn't 100% needed, but it can definitely help in terms of rotations. Third is the location of your POI. More centered POIs like Salty Springs, Frenzy Farm, and Pleasant Park all have great rotations most of the time, since they're towards the center of the map. The odds of a bad rotation in a centered POI is extremely low, and even the worst of scenarios can still be a better rotation than most players get. So, if you can get a POI towards the center of the map, that's a bonus. Finally, we've got extra rotation, and the only things I can really think of for this category are the wind tunnels and Steamy, the ones that send you flying into the sky, and zip lines, which aren't in as many areas of the map as you'd expect. They're only found along the east coast, south coast, and one is in Weeping Woods. But these can still be great mobility, and they're a nice little bonus. If any other extra rotational map features are introduced in the future, they can definitely be worth considering. Next up, we've got upgrade benches. Upgrade benches were added in Chapter 2, and they were mostly under the radar until just a few days ago. when they received a giant buff, cutting the prices of upgrades super low and introducing the side grading feature. To upgrade a weapon from gray to green, it costs 50 of each material. Green to blue now costs 100 of each material, and 150 from blue to purple. Finally, for purple to gold, it only costs 200 of each material. Overall, to upgrade a green pump to a purple pump, it only costs you 250 of each material, which is maybe a minute or two of extra farming. When Wavy Jacob got his first place 2 days in a row during the solo cash cups, he used the upgrade bench almost every single game to get a purple rarity shotgun, and it got him a ton of kills as a result. There's not too much to say about this, but if you have a spot with good materials, try to find an upgrade bench in the area that you can use to improve your loot and increase your odds of winning fights. Next up, we've got population. In this solos meta, getting kills in the early and mid game is a no-brainer, especially in the earlier low point lobbies of tournaments where most players really aren't that good. I've found that the optimal amount of enemies for a smaller POI, like my old Misty Mountain drop, is 1 or 2 players, and 3 to 5 is best for a POI drop. Getting kills in early and mid game is absolutely crucial due to the sheer amount of points you need to actually make money in cash cups and major tournaments. So, it's important to be at least sometimes contested, but not too heavily where you can't handle the heat. If your drop is uncontested, that's fine, but you'll probably want to get 1 or 2 kills after rotating out if they're realistic fights and won't get you killed. Finding a spot with meta items is my last piece of advice for this video. A few meta items include slurp trucks, slurp barrels, fishing areas, foraged items like apples, mushrooms, and coconuts, coolers which carry fish items, slurp ponds like in Slurpy Swamp, and anything else that's introduced in the future. Finding a spot with extra meta items can really benefit you. Going back to Wavy Jacob's drop once again, in Weeping Woods, there are 3 coolers he could grab immediately off spawn. Usually he got at least 1 or 2 slurpfish from these, which goes to show how much of an impact a seemingly small meta item might have on your game. Unfortunately guys, that's going to be it for this video. I really hope you all enjoyed it. I would appreciate it a ton if you could leave a like and consider subscribing if you like this content and want to see more of it. Also, I'll be linking my Twitch channel in the description. I'm starting to stream there pretty often, so if you have any interest, feel free to check it out. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Be sure to drop a like if the video helped you out, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. Have a great day. Peace.